trying to get me. You guys give up, or you're thirsty for more?
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Backtrack Cinema. In this video, we'll be counting down my top 10 favorite Christmas movies of all time. So get a drink, get some eggnog, pop some popcorn, and let's talk some Christmas movies. Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Jason and you're watching Backtrack Cinema, and I thank you for tuning into my top 10 favorite Christmas films. But before we get going, let me know in the comments what your favorite top 10 Christmas films is. And also, what is your favorite Christmas movie that you have to watch every year that you cannot have Christmas without watching this movie? Because I know my number one, I'm going to give it to you later. And the way I came up with this list, guys, was these are the films that I love at Christmas. Not necessarily my favorite movies of all time. Some of them would fit in some of my favorite movies, but the movies I have to watch the most at Christmas, or movies I have to see at Christmas. I'm not involving movies that Christmas is really not part of the plot. I'm talking to you, Die Hard and Lethal Weapon. Sorry, guys. Sorry. If you already saw my Die Hard review, you know that I don't think it's a Christmas movie. Great-ass action film, but for me, not a Christmas movie. So that's the disclaimer for you guys. Coming in at number 10 is the 1985 classic Gremlins.
Get out of my kitchen!
All right, we're starting off with a classic, Gremlins. Who doesn't like Gremlins, man? Some people find it silly, some people love it, I guess. I've always had a good time with Gremlins. We're going with nostalgia, though, here. And if I could tell you a little story, like when we were watching this as a family, when I was just a wee kid, like 6 or 7 years old, my mom had the Spike, you know, that big figure of Spike back in the 80s, and my brother came up behind me and went, blah, like that, and made me jump into the frickin' roof, man. I always liked the building of tension it kind of had, and how they set up these rules that you have to follow, or the Mogwai turns into a gremlin. And this movie really comes down to responsibility, how this character Billy learns responsibility, because you get, you know, that the evil woman who threatens his dog and everything, where he should have been responsible for his dog, and this movie really teaches this kid responsibility that he can take with him through his life. But I will say, I think there are some conflicting tones with this film. It almost feels like this film should have went darker than it did. There's a lot of sense of dread, I find, in this film, like what's coming is going to be really vicious, and it is, but it gets more comedic and silly. And I know the original movie, or the original script of this, was very, very dark. It was a very dark script. The Gremlins were like beheading people. Man, I wish I could have seen that movie. In saying that, I still have a blast with Gremlins. We like seeing how funny they are and how vicious they are. And, you know, Mogwai's cute as hell. Who wouldn't want a little Mogwai, right? And you get young Corey Feldman in it. But yeah, Gremlins is always a good time. Coming in at number 9 is Home Alone. Home Alone had to be on the list. Another classic, guys. And I watch this with my kids all the time now. I like it. I wouldn't say I love it, but I still like popping this one on. I still love enjoying it. But I find I'm waiting for that third act. Like, I find the middle act of this thing, I know there's a lot of character building, a lot of good moments with Kevin and all that, but the third act is so damn good. Like, I can't wait to get to the third act. Maybe that's a good thing. Catherine O'Hara is fantastic. Macaulay Culkin really had to carry a lot of this movie. Like, he really did have to, for a young child, he really had to carry this movie. And Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern, man, they were so good in this movie. So funny. How they just want to kill this kid. What Kevin does to them is just absolutely hilarious.
Where is it? Where is it?
Never mind it, you get here. How do you like it, huh? You jerk! Get the kid.
And it's heartwarming when this bratty kid learns that his family is the most important thing. And, you know, he was acting out of line. He's acting like a snot-nosed little punk, right? And the way he teaches the old man about, you know, talk to your son, you know, what are you waiting for? You know, life is too short to hold these kind of grudges. So it's fantastic, right? Home Alone. Coming in at number 8 is the Christmas Chronicles.
Christmas time, pretty baby, and the snow is falling on the ground.
Another one. This is one where I love watching with my youngest son, who's around 7 now. And he absolutely loves this film, and it's made him a Kurt Russell fan, and I can't wait to show him some more Kurt Russell flicks. But when I first watched this, I knew I was watching an instant classic. Every now and then you get one of those Christmas movies, you know you're watching a classic. You know 30 years from now, this will still be playing on Netflix or some other platform it will be playing on, and it really shouldn't be this good. I mean, I really tend to enjoy this movie, but it's because of Kurt Russell, his performance, his personality, his charisma. This man is the epitome of charisma. His confidence. Kurt Russell playing Santa, jamming the blues. Okay, Netflix, sign me up. How could you go wrong with that? But Kurt Russell elevates this material. That's the thing. The two kids are pretty good in it. The young girl, you know, she's cute and everything. She's really good as the role as Kate and stuff like that. But I really think if there was any other person playing Santa, someone not as charismatic, I don't think this movie would be as good as I think it is. And you know what? Maybe it's not as good as I'm saying it is, but I love Kurt Russell. I just absolutely love Kurt Russell. He just brings so much to a movie, you know what I mean? And that's why he's such a good actor, right? I love seeing when he takes off and he's driving the stolen car and the way he's cackling and laughing. It's just Kurt Russell gold, man. He's just classic in this. And him jamming in the jail cell, so iconic now. Like, that's what I love to watch about this movie. When he's singing the song, singing the blues, and he's just, you know, he's got this reeks of confidence, charisma, and really good things about a family dealing with grief and, you know, just coming back together again. So, great Christmas message. Awesome. Christmas Chronicles. Coming in at number 7 is Ernest Saves Christmas.
Oh, yes, but then it's to be expected.
Because you look like him?
Because I am him.
Because you am him. Well, how about that?
I know this won't be on everyone's list, but nostalgia again. I've been watching Ernest Saves Christmas ever since I was a young kid. I always love Ernest. I don't think this movie is as good as Ernest Goes to Camp, but I still have a great time with it. I love watching Jim Varney just doing his real physical kind of comedy. I love how he steps into these different characters. You know, the redneck farmer and the old cripple, you know, the old lady with the walker. Always fun to watch. It's just a good old-fashioned family, light-hearted comedy. You know what I mean, Vern? But yeah, just Ernest is great, man. You know, it's just, if you haven't watched this in a long time, give it a go. Especially if you have kids. Watch it with your kids. You'll have a good time with it, I think. Coming in at number 6 is One Magic Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Ginny.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, this is another one I've been watching ever since I was a little kid. This was one of my mom's favorites. It always came on every year. It's a little Canadian movie. It's got a little bit of Christmas Carol, a little bit of It's a Wonderful Life in it, in a way. But we got this family where this mother, played by Mary Steenburgen, she's just doesn't believe in Christmas. She doesn't like Christmas. She's grouchy all season. And the family going through money problems right now. We have this angel Gideon, played by Harry Dean Stanton, who comes down to try and help this family out. And the movie takes a really hard right into this emotional, terrible things that happen where her family gets ripped away from her, where her husband ends up getting killed. And she thinks her kids are killed, but the angel saves the kids. This is one that kind of gets like It's a Wonderful Life, but you really think this happens. But there's a moment in the movie where the husband and wife, they're walking around the street and all the lights go out. This is kind of like the cue that something bad's going to happen when her husband dies. It makes her appreciate what she's lost, and she holds on to her kids and her family. That's what's important and everything. And once she starts believing in the magic of Christmas again, this is where she gets her husband back, where it kind of rewinds back in time a bit. And it's all good stuff. It's great emotional stuff. I highly recommend it. And Santa in this, Santa really is magical. This Santa's not your Coca-Cola Santa. This Santa's not your mall Santa. He's got this real, almost European, very magical look, feel, and just the way about him. And it's great. One Magic Christmas, fantastic. Coming in at number 5 is Scrooged.
Well, I am happy with the path that I've chosen, you little bitch. In fact, I couldn't be happier.
What, are you crazy?
Yeah, buddy, I'm crazy.
Scrooged is awesome, man. It's absolutely hilarious. It goes satirical. It's more like black comedy, but it's a great retelling of the original Christmas Carol with Bill Murray playing this high executive in charge of this TV studio. And I like how they're doing this live TV show of Scrooge while this is all going on. The funniest moments are when he doesn't care about anyone. I will give it that.
Oh my gosh. Does that suck?
I just love when the version of Jacob Marley shows up. I think Lou's his name. And he's, taking a drink, and Bill Murray's going blam, blam, shooting him. And he's like, I don't mind if you hit me, Frank, but take it easy on the Bacardi. It's awesome. And Carol Kane playing the ghost of Christmas Present. The way she's just beating the shit out of him. And he's just like, oh, the bitch hit me with a toaster. I love a girl with spirit. Love Bill Murray in this. His style, man, he doesn't really act. He rolls, if you know what I mean. He kind of just rolls through the film. It's like Richard Donner said, you can't direct Bill Murray. You just pull him back a bit. That's what makes the performance great, is this improvised comedy. And that's what makes comedy great, is when it is improvised. I think comedy, for a lot of cases, should be improv. And when they're doing this live TV show, the censor girls there are saying you can't show girls' nipples, and Bill Murray goes, but I want to see their nipples. Throughout the movie, she's getting all these horrific things happening to her. It was almost like an FU to the censor boards, you know what I mean? But I always have a blast with Scrooge every year. Coming in at number 4 is Black Christmas.
Hello? Look, who is this?
Oh man, one of my favorite slashers, one of my favorite horror films of all time. I love Black Christmas. This old school approach to this raw tension and suspense. The Christmas atmosphere is awesome in this. I just love the Christmas atmosphere going on, how cold it is, the Christmas lights, what the inside of the house looks like. Just creates a lot of atmosphere. And they take the creep factor up to level 10 in this movie, man. This movie is disturbing and creepy. And one thing that makes it work is that it takes place at Christmas, when the girls in the sorority house are getting these phone calls. It's just creepy as hell. The voice of Billy, man, it's just downright disturbing because he's going through these several different personalities and so mysterious. I love how they keep Billy mysterious where you don't even see him. And even in the final act, you really still don't see him. You get this great mysterious ending where Billy's still out there, the phone starts ringing and Olivia Hussey's just sitting on the bed, passed out, and the cops have left. It's just like, what's going to happen? It just leaves you like, what's going to happen, man? And I love endings like that. And Olivia Hussey, great final girl in this. I love her performance in this. And she's written very progressive, where, she's gotten pregnant by her boyfriend and she's going to have an abortion. And this thing's in 1974. Just the things they deal with in the movies back then would be considered very taboo. And, hush, hush, we don't talk about stuff like that. And Bob Clark goes for that. I love how he writes his characters. They're very real. They're very grounded. And they're quirky a bit. You could tell this is the same guy who did The Christmas Story. And that famous eye shot, so good. I only saw this movie a couple years ago. Really, 2 or 3 years ago. But when I was a kid, we were being babysat by my older brother. And I can remember looking up in our basement at the little window. And I can remember some guy peeking his eye in. So when I saw this movie, I went, man, the eye shot was terrifying, because it brought me back to a little kid. And it ended up just being some drunk roaming around our house and, just kind of looking in the window. But as a kid, your imagination runs absolutely wild. So when I saw Black Christmas, I was like, man, that's terrifying. And one of the most disturbing scenes is when Margot Kidder is getting it with the glass unicorn and she's getting stabbed to death. And while this is happening, Olivia Hussey's got the door open. Obviously, she doesn't know what's going on up there. And the carols are all singing. It's supposed to be this beautiful night, Christmas, where it's joy and family and everyone getting together. And this horrific thing is happening upstairs. Man, I love Black Christmas. Absolutely filled with raw, white-knuckled tension, man. It's fantastic. Coming in at number 3 is A Christmas Carol from 1951.
Day is it?
What day? What's Christmas Day, Coaster?
Christmas Day. Christmas Day.
There are so many versions of A Christmas Carol. We have so many. There's the original one from 1938. There's the George C. Scott version from the 80s. Patrick Stewart did one. Robert Zemeckis did an animated one with Jim Carrey. So many of us like so many different ones. I love this one. My dad watched 2 movies every Christmas Eve every year when I was growing up. And that was this one and It's a Wonderful Life. So I always grew up watching those two movies every Christmas Eve, and still to this day, it's a tradition at Christmas. I have to watch these two movies. Charles Dickens just wrote something that really resonates, and I just like the way this movie does it the best. I just like, it feels grounded. It's not as, for movies of that time, a lot of these movies would be theatrical in the acting, and there is some in there, but I really like how grounded the performances are in this, and how haunting the movie is. When Jacob Marley shows up in this movie goes, this is a horror film at that point. It is haunting as the original ghost story, you know what I mean? And we don't see him right away where he's banging, you don't see nothing yet. I always like that when you hear things but you don't see them yet. Using suggestion, making us conjure up things in our mind. Just that message he's telling Scrooge and warning him, you have not lived a good life. You're going to end up worse than me. Where I come from, there is no happiness. There's no joy. There's this misery and pain. And it's just fantastic. And I just love that line where he's like, you're just a good man of business. He goes, business, mankind should have been my business. Or something like, mankind was my business.
But it was only that you were a good man of business, Jacob.
Business! Mankind was my business. Their common welfare was my business.
Just helping other people, man. People in need, people who are suffering, people who need a blanket, people who need food, the poor, just helping people. The way they go through each ghost, going through his past of how he became like this, and the present, how he's still kind of acting like this, and he's getting worse, than the future where when he dies and no one even cares about you because you haven't done a good thing in this world. You get this kind of little argument in the movie about why run a business, not to make money. Well, it's more than that. It's more than money. Preserving a way of life, for the benefit of other people. Humanity, man. All about humanity, and it's such a great tale. The transition at the end where Scrooge becomes this happy-go-lucky guy and he's excited is fantastic. The way he's dancing around. Everyone thinks he's lost his freaking mind. He goes, I must stand on my head. He goes to stand on his head. It's just amazing to watch.
A Merry Christmas, Ebenezer. You old humbug.
It just fills you up with a lot of joy watching this flick. Love A Christmas Carol. Coming in at number 2 is It's a Wonderful Life.
Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas, George! Merry Christmas, George! Merry Christmas, movie house! Merry Christmas, Emporium!
Again, this is one of the ones my dad watched every Christmas Eve, and it's a tradition I've do in my house. I love It's a Wonderful Life. Love Jimmy Stewart. Love Donna Reed in this. Donna Reed is just gorgeous, and I love the way she plays her character. I like all the characters, a lot of great characters in this. And a story about a man who just doesn't really appreciate what he has in front of him. And man, we could all relate to something like that. A guy who had big dreams and goals, and things happen to George Bailey along the way which keeps him in this town, and he takes a wife, he has kids. He never really sees the difference he's made in people's lives. And I think we could all feel like that at some point. And then he gets a great gift by an angel where he's ready to commit suicide, what the world would be like without him being born. And so everything we see up to this point, we see what he has done for this town, what he's done in other people's lives. If you could have a gift like this and just saw how much you mattered, and no mistake, we all matter in this world. We've all affected each other's lives in very big ways, even though it may seem very trivial at the time. He talks about, I want to go into Africa and here and there and build these big buildings. He built a family, and that's what's most important, is his wife and his kids. The way he comes to at the end of this film is fantastic to watch. It's so heartwarming, and it's such a great reminder every year just to remind us what it's really about. And that's why it goes from generation to generation to generation, why it's a timeless classic, and why it just resonates with us. There's really great moments of tension in this.
Don't you know that boy's a sick?
I'm still here.
You lazy loaf.
Such a coward. You don't know what you're doing. You put some...
And it can go from something very lighthearted to serious, but it transitions so smoothly. It's a Wonderful Life. It's just awesome, man. It's just a timeless classic that we have to watch every year. All right, guys. Before I give you my number 1, here are 5 honorable mentions. Coming in at number 1, the movie I have to watch every year no matter what, is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
No, we're all in this together. This is a full-blown 4-alarm holiday emergency here. We're gonna press on, and we're gonna have the happiest Christmas since Bing Crosby tap danced with Danny fucking Kaye.
I love Christmas Vacation. This is the one movie I think of when the Christmas season comes along that I have to watch, and honestly, I watch it several times. I love this film. I only watch it near Christmas or at Christmas. It's my favorite of the National Lampoon movies. I just love the character of Griswold. And I love this message too. Another one that, you know, that takes from Christmas Carol, It's a Wonderful Life. But Clark's trying to put on this big family Christmas, and we all want that big family Christmas, but things just don't go right. Things keep piling up on them, piling up. And it's all the stuff that happens that's so funny with them. And so many funny moments in this, whether it's Clark up in the attic, the physical gag with the sled scene where he takes off down the hill like a freaking rocket launcher. And his rant is absolutely hilarious. I look forward to that rant every time I freaking watch this movie.
Stiff-legged, spotty-lipped, worm-headed sack of monkey shit he is! Hallelujah! Holy shit! Where's the Tylenol?
And obviously, Randy Quaid is absolutely hilarious as Cousin Eddie in this. And just another great reminder in this film of what Christmas really is about. And Clark learns what it means to him about his family, right? But one thing I don't understand, I think a sequel to this one should have been when they put the pool in, where they had like National Lampoon's Summer Staycation or something like that. That would have been funny maybe. And so many things I just think of when I think of this movie, like the drinking eggnog out of the moose cups, and you know, whenever you see someone with lots of Christmas lights on their house, you automatically go, hey, it's a Griswold house. This the over-the-top overdoing it on everything at Christmas is Griswold, man. Just absolutely hilarious. Just love it. I always forget that Julia Louis-Dreyfus was in this as the bitch neighbor next door, man. I always forget about that every time I watch it. She was actually pretty fantastic in this, man. I like her as the bitchy neighbor. They cut into the turkey and it's been completely overcooked, dried out, because almost every one of us have had a Christmas where the turkey was too dry. Am I not real about that with you guys? And this movie has become a tradition in itself to watch it. Like, and for me anyway, it's tradition to watch a Griswold family Christmas. Well, that is my top 10 Christmas movies of all time, guys. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please subscribe to the channel. If you like the content I'm dishing out, ring the little notification bell so you don't miss on any other content. And if you like this top 10 video, then check out my other top 10 videos down here below, and check out my top 5 moments from Christmas Vacation that I recently done. You can check that out down there too. My name is Jason. You're watching Backtrack Cinema. I hope you all have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I will see you in the movies, man. Cheers.